Good afternoon, one and all. So sorry for late. So we'll start our today's lecture. Okay, we'll see that already we have started our lecture, that is a clustering. Okay. So what is the clustering and what are its what is the definition? What are the different types? Okay. All the things already we have covered. This lecture we are going to learn the partitioning algorithm. Okay. So what are the partitioning algorithm that we are going to study in this lecture? So here you can see that clustering, that is the document clustering, motivations, document representations, success criteria, clustering algorithms, partial and hierarchical. Okay, all the things we have covered in the previous lecture. Okay. So this is a data set with a clear cluster structure and applications. Okay, so all these scatter and gather, okay, visualizing document collection, improving search recall. Okay, so the issues for clustering, notion for similarity, distance clustering algorithms. Okay, so all these algorithms we have studied in the previous. Okay, so this k-means algorithms we have covered. Okay, this is the convergence. So the next part we are going to study in today's lecture. So I will open those PPTs. So just a minute. So this way we have studied, that is what is cluster analysis, types of data in cluster analysis, categorization of major clustering methods, and partitioning methods, hierarchical methods, again density based methods. Okay, again the grid based methods, model based. Okay, so all these points we are going to cover, and already we have seen that what is the cluster and again what is its cluster analysis. So once again you can see here what is the meaning of cluster here. So the cluster is that a collection of data objects, okay, similar to one another within the same cluster or dissimilar to the objects in the other clusters. Okay, that are all are they called as the a cluster here. And what is the cluster analysis here? So the cluster analysis is that finding similarities between data according to the characteristics found in the data and grouping similar data objects into the clusters. Okay, so all these are the called as the cluster analysis. Okay. So we are going to find the similarities between data, so according to their characteristics found in the data, and we are going to group these similar kinds of the objects into the clusters here. Okay, so that is called as the cluster analysis. So we can do the cluster analysis by different ways. So we have the unsupervised learning. So the unsupervised learning means we don't have any predefined classes here, and typical applications of this as a standalone tool to get insight into data distribution and as a pre-processing step for other algorithms. Okay. So the clustering rich applications and multidisciplinary efforts. So we are going to have the pattern recognition, spatial data analysis, image processing, economic science, document classification, cluster Weblog data to discover groups of similar access patterns. Okay. So all these are the called as the applications of this clustering here, means where exactly the clustering application we are going to use here. So in the case of the pattern recognition, and again in case of the spatial data analysis, so create thematic maps in GIS by clustering feature spaces and detect spatial clusters or for other spatial mining tasks. Okay, so we are going to use the clustering and again image processing. Okay, we are the very old and we are going huge applications regarding the images. So in the image processing also we are going to use the clustering here. Again we have the economic science. So the economic science especially we are going to use in the market research. Suppose any scientist or any research scholars, they want to do the research. So with respect to the economic science, so there also we are going to have the clustering here. And again the world wide web, that is the triple W. In that case also we are going to use the clustering, that is the document classification, and again the cluster Weblog data to discover groups of similar access patterns here. Okay. So again these are the some applications about the marketing. So in case of the marketing, it helps marketers discover distinct groups in their customer bases and then use this knowledge to develop targeted marketing programs. And land use, so the identification of areas of similar land use in an earth observation database. And insurance, so identifying groups of motor insurance policy holders with a high average claim cost. And city planning is that identifying groups of houses according to their house type, value and geographical location. And earthquake studies, so it is observed earthquake epicenters should be clustered along a continent of faults here. So all are the very interesting applications regarding the clustering. So the quality, what is good clustering? So how you are going to classify this is our, how we are going to say this is the a good clustering here. So a good clustering method will produce high quality clusters with high intra-class similarity and again the low interclass similarity. So the intra-class means within the class only. Okay, that is called as the good clustering. And again the low interclass. The low interclass means class to class. Okay, the classes are different here. Okay, that's why it is called as interclass similarity. And the quality of a clustering, okay, the quality of a clustering result depends on both the similarity measure used by the method and its implementation. And the quality of a clustering method is also measured by its ability to discover some or all of the hidden patterns. Okay. And measure the quality of clustering. So the dissimilarity or similarity metric. So the similarity is expressed in terms of a distance function. Okay, the typically metric that is the D of Ij, and there is a separate quality function that measures the goodness of a cluster. So these are the major, and again the requirements of clustering in data mining. So why the this clustering is required in case of the data mining here. So the first point is about the scalability. Scalability means regarding its scope. Okay, what are these applications? And ability to deal with different types of the attributes. So what are the different types of the attributes objects we are having? So the easily you can deal with those attributes here. And ability to handle dynamic data. Okay. Discovery of clusters with arbitrary shape. Minimal requirements for domain knowledge to determine input parameters. and able to deal with noise and outliers. The outliers means you can say the unwanted data. That is called as the outliers. And again the insensitive to order of input records. Okay. And high dimensionality, incorporation of user specified constraints. Okay. And again the interpretability and usability. So all these are the requirements of clustering in the data mining. Okay. So we can see the what types of data in a cluster analysis. What are the different types of the data? So already we have studied this one. What is the data matrix? That is the 2 modes. And again the dissimilarity matrix is the 1 mode here. Again after that we have studied the type of data in clustering analysis. Okay, we have the different types here. So the first type is about interval scaled variables. Second one binary variables. Third one nominal or ordinal and ratio variables. And the next one the variables of mixed types here. So these are the interval value variables. So already we have covered all these similarity and again the dissimilarity between objects. So these are the binary variables. And again the dissimilarity between binary variables. Again the nominal variables, ordinal variables, okay, the ratio scaled variables, and then again variables of mixed types, vector objects. Okay, all these points we have covered in the previous lecture here. Now we will see the next point is categorization of major clustering methods. Okay. So how we are going to do the categorization of the major clustering approach here or the methods. So the first approach we have the partitioning approach. Okay. Again the second approach we have the hierarchical approach. And again the third we have the density based approach here. So what is the partitioning approach here? So in case of the partitioning approach, we have the construct various partitions and then evaluate them by some criterion. For example, minimizing the sum of square errors. And the typical methods are k-means, again the k-medoids, and again the Clarence. Okay. And hierarchical approach we are going to use to create a hierarchical decomposition of the set of data or objects using some criteria. And the typical methods are Diana, Agnes, BIRCH, Rock, and again the Camelon. Okay, so these are the hierarchical approaches are there. And again the density based approach based on the connectivity and density functions. And the typical methods are DBSHN, and again the optics, and again the DENCLU. Okay, all these points we are going to learn in this chapter here. So the first grid-based approach. What is the grid-based approach here? So it is based on a multiple level granularity structure, and typical methods are string, wave cluster, and again the click. Okay. And again the model-based. A model is hypothesized for each of the clusters and tries to find the best fit of that model to each other. And typical methods are EM, SOM, and again the cobweb. So the frequent pattern based on the analysis of frequent patterns, typical methods that is the pre-cluster and user guided or constraint based. So the clustering by considering user specified or application specific constraints, and typical methods are COD, that is the code obstacles, and constrained clustering. Okay, so these are the major clustering approaches are there. Now you can see the typical alternatives to calculate the distance between clusters. So how we are going to calculate the distance between clusters here. Okay, so we have the different approaches here. So how to calculate the distance between the two clusters. So this by using the single link and again the complete link and again the average and again the centroid and again the medoid here. Okay, so what is the single link here? So the single link is nothing but it is the smallest distance between an element. Okay, it is the smallest distance between an element in one cluster and an element in the other. Okay, that is distance of ki comma kj is equal to minimum of tip comma tjq here. Okay, this is called as the a single link. And again, next one is the complete link. So what is the complete link here? So the complete link is that largest distance between an element in one cluster and an element in the other. Okay, that is the distance of ki comma kj is equal to max of tip comma tjq. Okay, that is called as the complete link. And average is that, so the average distance between an element in one cluster and an element in the other. So that is the distance of ki comma kj is equal to average of tip comma tjq. And the centroid, so what is the centroid here? So the distance between the centroids of two clusters, so that is distance of ki comma kj is equal to distance of ci comma cj here. And the medoid, so the distance between the medoids of two clusters, that is distance of ki comma kj is equal to distance of mi comma mj. So the medoid is one chosen, so the centrally located object in the cluster here. What is the meaning of the medoid here? So the medoid is that is a centrally located object in the cluster here. So that is called as the medoid here. Now the centroid radius and diameter of a cluster. So how you are going to calculate a centroid of a cluster, a radius of a cluster, and a diameter of a cluster here. Okay. So the first of all we can see the centroid. So the centroid is called as the middle of a cluster. Okay. The centroid is nothing but it is the middle of a cluster. That is Cm is equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to the n of tip divided by n. So this is called as this is the formula for calculating the centroid here. That is the middle of a cluster. And how we are going to calculate the radius of a cluster here? So the square root of average of distance from any point of the cluster to its centroid here. Okay. So the Rm is equal to in the square root summation of I is equal to 1 to the n that into tip minus cm bracket square and divided by n. So by using this formula here, we can calculate the radius for a given cluster here. Okay. And the diameter, so the diameter you can able to calculate the square root of average means square the distance between all pairs of points in the cluster here. Okay, that is dm is equal to in the square root summation of I is equal to 1 to the n and summation of I is equal to 1 to the n and tip minus tiq bracket square and divided by n into n minus 1. So in that way we can calculate the diameter for a given cluster here. See, all the values are there, just we need to put the value So this is about the k-means clustering method here. Now here you can see that how this algorithm works here in the 4 steps. So this is the one example. So the here the row wise and again the column wise you can see. Otherwise you can consider this is the x-axis and again this is the y-axis here. So for the x-axis we have the total 10 points here, and again for the y-axis again we have the total 10 points here. So these are the objects are there, okay, in this cluster. Now here whatever these clusters are there, just we are going to make a one group here, and again this second here, that is the second reassign, okay, and again here we are going to have the two clusters. Okay, so the each and every object we have coded in this. This we need to find out the distance between the two objects here. What are the red and again the in the diamond, again the blue diamonds, okay, again the red. So all these are we are going to represent the objects here. Okay. Now comments on the k-means method. So what are its advantages and again what are its disadvantages, okay, of the k-means method here. So first of all we can see what is the strength, and after that we will see that what is the weakness, advantage and the disadvantage. We can see this. So the strength is that the relatively efficient O of Tkn, comma where n is objects and k is the clusters and t is iterations. Okay, the normally k and again the t is less than n. Okay. So the comment is that often terminates at a local optimum, and the global optimum may be found using techniques such as deterministic, annealing, and genetic algorithms. What are the weakness of this algorithm? So the weakness is that it is applicable only when mean is defined. Okay, when the mean is we are going to calculate, then and then only it is applicable. Otherwise, we cannot apply the k-means method. Okay. So then, what about categorical data here? It is very difficult for the categorical data here when the mean is not okay defined. So need to specify k, the number of clusters in advance. Okay. So we need to specify the value of k, that is the number of clusters in advance, and unable to handle the noisy data and outliers. Okay, unable to handle the noisy data means whatever the unwanted data is there, so that is very difficult to handle in this k-means method here, and not suitable to discover clusters with non-convex shapes here. So this is not suitable for discovering the clusters with non-convex shapes here. Okay. So these are the comments on the k-means method here. So we have some advantages and again we have some disadvantages for the k-means here. So the disadvantages are that so it is applicable only when mean is defined. Then what about categorical data? And need to specify k, the number of clusters in advance, and it is unable to handle the noisy data and outliers, and not suitable to discover clusters with non-convex shapes here. Okay. So variations of the k-means method. So what are the different variations are there in the k-means method here? The variations are that a few variants of the k-means which differ in a selection of the initial k-means. Okay. So the initial of the k-means, and again the dissimilarity calculations, and again the strategies to calculate a cluster means. Okay. So these points are related to the few variants of the k-means which differ in selection of the initial k-means, and dissimilarity calculations, and strategies to calculate the cluster means. Okay. And the next one, the handling categorical data. Okay. So handling categorical data is called as the k modes. So the k modes are replacing means of clusters with modes, and using new dissimilarity measures to deal with categorical objects, and using a frequency based method to update modes of clusters, and a mixture of categorical and numerical data, that is the K prototype method here. So in that way we have some variations with respect to the K-means, okay, for regarding the handling categorical data and regarding the variants. Okay, the K-means algorithm is sensitive to outliers. Okay. So the K-means algorithm is very sensitive to the outliers. Why it is? Since an object with an extremely large value may substantially distort the distribution of the data here. Okay. So since an object with an extremely large value may substantially distort the distribution of the data, and the K methods. So instead of taking the mean value of the object in a cluster as a reference point, so the methods can be used which is the most centrally located object in a cluster here. Okay. So this is the problem of the K-means method. So the K-means algorithm is sensitive to outliers, and since an object with an extremely large value may substantially distort the distribution of the data here. And about the K methods, so instead of taking the mean value of the object in a cluster as a reference point, so the methods can be used which is the most centrally located object in a cluster here. Okay. Now the K methods clustering method. So in that way we have studied about the K-means method here. Now the next method is that the K method clustering method here. So the K method clustering method is nothing but, so the any object we are going to consider for identifying a cluster. Okay, that is called as the K method clustering. And the K method clustering is also called as the partitioning around methods. So that is the PAM. So the PAM is nothing but the partitioning around methods. And it starts from an initial set of methods and iteratively replaces one of the methods by one of the non-methods if it improves the total distance of the resulting clustering. And the PAM works effectively for small data sets but does not scale well for large data sets. Okay. So it is going to focus on the partitioning around the methods. So it's going to start from an initial set of methods and iteratively replaces one of the methods by one of the non-methods if it improves the total distance of the resulting clustering. Okay. And the PAM works effectively for small data sets, but it does not work for the large data sets here. Okay. So this is a typical K method algorithm, that is the PAM. So how it is going to work here? So the K is equal to 2, there are two clusters are there. So the arbitrarily choose K objects as initial methods. So these are the initial methods, and assign each remaining object to nearest methods. Okay. So here we are going to assign this one, and total cost is equal to 26 here. Okay. Randomly select a non-method object. In that way, do loop until no change. So use the real object to represent the cluster. So what is the PAM is there? That PAM it is going to use the real object to represent the cluster, and select K representative objects arbitrarily. Okay. So for each pair of non-selected object H and selected object I, so calculate the total swapping cost TCIH. Okay. So for each pair of I and H, if the TCIH is less than 0, then I is replaced by H, and then assign each non-selected object to the most similar representative object. So that is the repeat steps 2, 3 until there is no change. Okay. So this is how the swapping is done. So the total swapping cost is TCIH is equal to summation of J, that is CJIH, and CJIH is equal to D of J comma H minus D of J comma I. So just I will give the 2 minutes. You just take down this example. That is about the PAM clustering total swapping cost. So what is the problem with PAM here? So we can see what are the problems we are facing in the PAM here. So that is the PAM is more robust than K-means in the presence of noise and outliers, because a method is less influenced by outliers or other extreme values than a mean. And PAM works efficiently for small data sets but does not scale well for large data sets here. Okay. So the CLARA stands for clustering large applications. Okay, that is called as the CLARA. So the CLARA, it is defined in the 1990 by Kaufman and Rossio. So it is built in statistical analysis packages such as S+. So it draws multiple samples of the data set, applies PAM on each sample, and gives the best clustering as the output here. So the strength is it deals with larger data sets than PAM, and the disadvantage of this CLARA is, so efficiency depends on the sample size, and a good clustering based on sample will not necessarily represent a good clustering of the whole data set if the sample is biased. So the clustering algorithm based on randomized search. So the Clarence draws sample of neighbors dynamically. So the clustering process can be presented as searching a graph where every node is a potential solution. That is a set of k methods. And if the local optimum is found, then Clarence starts with new randomly selected node in search for a new local optimum, and it is more efficient and scalable than both PAM and CLARA. So focusing techniques and spatial access structures may further improve its performance. Okay. So in that way, we have studied the k-means and again the k-method algorithms regarding the partitioning of the clusters here. Okay. So just I will share the our syllabus. So this is the syllabus here. So till now we have studied about the cluster analysis. What is the cluster analysis? The requirements for the cluster analysis, overview of basic clustering methods, and in that we are going to study the partitioning methods, k-means and k-methods. Okay, these two algorithms we have studied in this lecture. Now in the next lecture, we are going to study the hierarchical methods. Okay. So in the hierarchical methods, we are going to study the agglomerative algorithms and divisio clustering, BIRCH multiphase, hierarchical clustering using clustering feature trees, evaluation of clustering. Okay. So all these algorithms we are going to study in the tomorrow's lecture. Okay. So maybe on the Thursday, we are going to finish this chapter here. Okay. So after this finishing this chapter, we will start the next chapter is association rules. Okay. So here you can see that the next we have the hierarchical methods, density, grid, model, clustering, the constraint. All the points are there in this one. BIRCH. So all these points we will study in the next lecture. Okay. So we'll stop here. So I request you all, please drop your attendance in the chat box. So I request you all, please drop your attendance in the chat box. And you can leave the meeting here.